Hey everyone, welcome to my latest broadcast. My name is Todd Nauck. Thanks for tuning in. If this is your first time to check out one of my broadcasts, I want to say welcome, and also welcome to all my longtime viewers. I'm so glad you're here. Just to introduce myself, I'm an artist, mostly for Marvel Comics. Been working for Marvel mostly, drawing Spider-Man and Deadpool comic books this past year or so. So I'll say welcome to everyone. I plan on drawing Marvel Zombie Spider-Man, in keeping in with the Halloween theme, being part of Periscope's Monsters Inc. Halloween channel, doing Halloween themed illustrations. So keeping along the lines with drawing superheroes, I figured let's make Spidey a little more Halloween like. So going for a Marvel Zombies. Hopefully y'all remember the Marvel Zombies miniseries Marvel used to do. I actually drew a Marvel Zombies story. It was Marvel Apes versus Marvel Zombies. One of the weirdest stories I'd ever done, to draw the ape versions of the Marvel characters versus the zombie versions of the Marvel characters. And you can find that in one of the Marvel Apes trade paperbacks. So let's stop with the chatting and get into the drawing. And as always, feel free to post your questions and comments. I'll do my best to respond while I'm drawing, as well as share with you some of my thought process of how I draw, what I draw, or why I'm drawing what I'm drawing. So let's plug into the rig and get started. Got a piece of 7.5 by 10 or 7 by 10.5 comic book backing board. Really like drawing on these. They're acid free. Don't use the slick side, the glossy, shiny slick side. Not a good side to draw on. Drawing on the duller matte side, much better. Using my Pentel Twist Erase mechanical pencil with 0.5 HB lead. So let's give this a whirl here. So it's just starting in with that basic head shape. We'll get a little bit more than just a head in this shot here. We'll try to work in a bit of the upper torso and maybe a hand as well. Kind of creep them out. So it's just basic rough shape starting off here. Nice thing about drawing zombies is that they're pretty messy, so you can really get gritty with the line work and the art there. So just getting these basic shapes roughed in, as I said, and now kind of back towards here to the face. Figuring out the eye line, nose line, mouth line. Just generally, and then the one eye will go here, because we're totally going to see one of his eyes, because his mask is going to be torn. But we still want one of those Spidey lenses on one side. Want to be able to... that's very recognizably Spidey. So keeping in mind where the other eye would be, we drop in that one lens. And I'll probably crack it and have the shattered lens, but we want that black and white side there. Am I accepting commissions right now? You can get on my commission wait list. It's a long list, so it's good to get on my list now. But you can email me at mail@wildguard.com, or you can find that email address on my about page at toddnauck.com. Like I said, it's a bit of a wait because deadlines and work travel eat up most of my time right now these days, but it's good to get on the list, and then when your name hits the top of the queue, I'll send you an email with all the basic specs and prices, and then we hone in on what you want. Is this Bristol board? It's kind of like Bristol board. It's a comic book backing board on the dull matte side, not the shiny glossy side. All right, so figure out the cheek there, the jawline, and then we want that zombie snaggletooth mouth. So we got the teeth there, bottom row of teeth. Just rough shapes here. We'll have all sorts of blood and viscera that will drip down off of his face and splatter across his costume. And it'll probably be torn up in spots here. So this is a bit more of a detailed broadcast here, so we'll see how far we can get. But we got the basics here going, and then we'll have the kind of signify where the webs will go. So let's see, really rough in where that eye will be. Some brain matter right there. All right, so now let's drop into some inks. I'm going to be using my Pigma Micron pens and also my Zebra brush pen here. I'm using the mid-sized brush pen here, just to get different textures and shapes of line. So as you see, as I let it bounce across the paper there, we get different shapes and line widths depending on how hard I press down or how light. The harder I push down on the paper, the thicker the line. The more I let up, the less I push down. The thinner the line. Let's see. What did I study in art school? I studied commercial art and graphic design and applied everything I learned there to drawing comics. There's some hair peeking out from a hole there. Backside of the mask, the cloth kind of flailing off there. I think I'd seen a question pass by there was someone asked, how long have I been doing this? I've been drawing comics for quite a while now, for a good number of years, but I've been drawing all my life. I've been doing broadcasts for the past, I guess, about 2 years now. Let's kind of rough in where that ear would be, or should be. Was sequential art a major at the school I went to? No, it wasn't. I went to art school back in the 1990s, and it was before the school I went to, Art Institute of Dallas, they didn't even have the animation video game course yet, which would have lent itself to comics more so than commercial art and graphic design. But the things I could learn in commercial art and graphic design paid off. I mean, because I had perspective classes, life drawing classes, design classes, and all that plays into comics. What am I drawing? I'm drawing Marvel's Zombie Spider-Man. Some more of his hair here. Have I ever fallen asleep in class? Not that I can recall. It's been quite a while since I've been in school, so it's hard to remember, but I don't recall ever having fallen asleep in class. Not intentionally. Or even accidentally. Especially at art school, because it's all about projects, so it's not like I'm going in for lectures, which I could see someone falling asleep if it's just, sitting there listening to lectures and trying to take notes. Everything I was doing was at the Art Institute was very hands-on. So I'm actually doing stuff like this in school. So that kept me awake and interested. Have I drawn any other zombie things? No, aside from that one issue of Marvel Apes versus Marvel Zombies, not really. I mean, I've drawn Walking Dead commissions at conventions, you know, a generalized zombie and stuff like that. Let's get to some teeth here. Teeth are really fun to draw because you make them all jagged and mismatched. Maybe even one's missing. Maybe we'll make one missing right there. You want the skin all wrinkled and crinkled, especially around the eyes. In fact, we'll just darken it up even more around the eyes here, just really bringing in that texture. Try to keep in mind the curvature of the mouth and to where the teeth will curve back to the other side. Some shadow in here, bit of a tongue. Let's finish off the chin here. Start to work on the mask here a little bit, the Spidey lens. What would I recommend practicing most when trying to draw comics? You know, there's so much that is involved in drawing comics that you have a lot that you need to focus on. So first off, storytelling. How do you fit the characters, backgrounds, everything into the page in an appropriate way to lead the reader's eye accurately from one panel to the next, choosing the right camera angles, sizes and shapes of panels, and so that's a feat there in itself. And then on top of that, then you have to work on your perspective, both of the backgrounds and the characters. You have to work on the anatomy, the proportions, foreshortening, and then all the different details that you have to draw in the comic, shading, lighting. So there's a lot that comes into it. So my suggestion is just start drawing comic book pages, and you're going to learn a lot as you go. The first ones are going to look terrible. Everyone's first comic pages look bad because there's a lot to learn. It's kind of like learning a language. You know, when you first start learning to speak a language, it's very, you know, you can barely hold a conversation. But the more you practice it, the better you get at it. So hopefully that helps. I know it's not maybe not the best answer to the question, but hopefully it works. Will I take this to colors? I hope to. I hope there's enough time to take this to colors. And that would be Copic colors, Copic sketch markers. So let's see. Gotta get that rolled up eyeball there. Yes, I am using a lead pencil here, a mechanical pencil. This is just a piece I'm doing for fun, more so than a warm-up sketch. Someone asked, are these warm-up sketches? It could fall under the heading of a warm-up sketch, but today's not really a main work day, so it's not technically wouldn't be a warm-up sketch. Usually if I do a warm-up sketch, I don't do something quite this big, just for the amount of time it would take. Let's see, go back to my zebra brush pen here. Peter took a big chunk out, someone took a chunk out of his shoulder here. Maybe that's where he got bit and zombified. Got a torn costume over here on this side. Start to work on these fingers here. Maybe with torn gloves. So we see one finger there. Maybe this one's just the bone. How gruesome is that? I know hands are a challenge for a lot of young artists. I always had a love for drawing hands. So they've been a challenge for certain, but not one that ever really kind of just stymied me. One that was so difficult that I just fretted over it. But I just love how you can bend them in all sorts of different ways. Bend the fingers. Put those spidey rings across the fingers there. So those fingers are coming together. And then we'll show off his pinky here. How big is this paper? It's roughly 7 by 10. 7 inches by 10 inches. So about the size of an actual comic book itself, since this is a comic book backing board. So it's decent sized. Start to roughen his chest. Drawing hands kills you. It's the one thing you can't quite imagine correctly. That's understandable. It takes a lot of practice and study. But the nice thing about hands is that we always have reference with us as an artist. You know, you can always look at your own hands. And I do that all the time. I'll put my hand in the pose that I want to draw, and then I'll study the shapes and just break it down shape by shape by shape. So getting Spidey's hand there done. Start to work on this other shoulder area. So you can see I got the two pectoral muscles here. Sternum, Spidey logo will go right here. Nice thing about the Spidey logo is pretty much two diamonds, and then a little one for the head, big one for the body, and then you start to lay out where the legs will go. Someone asked what size pen this is. This is the Pigma Micron 08. Two spider legs go up, two spider legs go down. Thanks for the kind words. How am I so good at inking? A lot of practice. So much practice to develop the hand control, the line control. That's why artists always give the advice of practice. When you ask what's a good way to break into the comics, or what does one need to do to get into comics or to get good at comic art, practice, 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 practice. So we got the dark parts of his costume here. The blue parts, I'll fill that part in with black here in a moment. Just a little X to indicate that this part needs to be black. Little trick we use in comics, so we remember to go back to fill in the black part. Okay, and then we'll just fade out down through there. And we need all sorts of little bits that fall off there. What would I do what would I recommend someone trying to do anatomy, trying to learn anatomy? You can study anatomy books. You can go to your local bookstore and go to the art section and check out different anatomy books. Lots of different anatomy illustrators there that you can check out. Bridgman, Loomis, Hogarth, and then just draw. Just kind of reference that. For me, it was just a lifetime of trial and error. I had life drawing classes at the Art Institute, so that helped a lot. So you can check out some life drawing artist books, and then draw from real life whenever possible. There's always something new to learn, or a new way to draw things. So let's see, we start to put in the spider web part of his costume, and then we'll see if we can move into some colors. How can you buy a drawing? You can get on my commission list. Someone had mentioned that at the top of the show, how to get on my commission list. You can go to toddnauck.com. In the upper left-hand corner, there's an About section. You can click on that to get to my to find my email address. Don't leave a comment. Leaving a comment won't get you on my list. You want to find the email address listed on the About page. And when you shoot me an email, I'll add you to my list and send you a reply saying you're now on my commission wait list. It's a bit of a long wait, so it's good to get on the list now. So you want to fill those spots in black. Now the webs of his costume that come down this way. What am I drawing here? This is Marvel Zombies Spider-Man from the Marvel Comics series, or series of mini-series, The Marvel Zombies. Now we bring the webs around this way. right. Oh, sorry I missed your question there. Feel free to repost. I'm missing a lot of questions. This is a very detailed illustration here, so a lot of my focus is going on the art, but I'm trying to catch questions when I'm able to. All right, so now let's erase with my Statler Mars plastic eraser. And then we'll drop some color in here. Use my Pentel pocket brush pen. Fill in the black areas. Can I come to DragonCon in Atlanta, Georgia? I'd love to come to DragonCon sometime. That sounds like a very fun convention. I've never been there, but I'd love to be a guest there someday. Does my brush ever go bad? Sometimes. Sometimes the bristles get a bit off kilter, so I have to purchase a new brush pen. So that's happened every now and again. They last a good long while, but I don't believe they last forever, so you have to replace every now and again. All right, so now let's drop in some color here. We're going to start with a flesh tone, some E01, but we're going to really kind of gruesome this out as we go. And some E11 here next. These are Copic sketch markers, in case I forgot to mention that. Let's see, get some brown in the hair. Going here. How many colors do I own? Probably just over 125, 130. Let's see, let's get the tongue going there. Oh, so let's see, I used E25 for the hair and then the the RV95 for the tongue there. Try to remember to mention each color. Some B000 here on the lens. A little bit here on the eyeball. Let's see, we're going to use a lot of red on here, so we'll start with the R27. Now these colors are starting off really bright. I'm going to come in with a lot of grays in here and really kind of dull this up, really kind of gritty it up as I go. But this is just the get the basic colors down first. What's the hardest thing I've had to draw? I can't remember the hardest, but some of the more challenging things I've had to draw are horses or cows. Any cloven-hooved animal really is a bit of a challenge. But But, you know, I found a workaround there. I went to Michael's Craft Stores and purchased a figurine, a cow figurine, and used that to as a model for me to be able to draw the cow in all the different angles for the different camera angles I had for that one comic book story. Let's see, let's kick in some R68. So I go back and grab my R27. Forgot to do the reds of his gloves. Oh, and I also need to go back and do the flesh parts of his gloves. Or his hands, I should say. So it's a little R27 there. Then come back with the YR68. Yeah, the Copic markers are a bit squeaky, aren't they? Let's get those flesh tones here on his fingers. The E01. And the E11. So I'm going to kick it to the YR16. Oh, thank you for the kind words. Wow, thank you so much. I'm glad my videos have been a help to you. Glad they've been you've been able to learn some tips and tricks. That truly means a lot. Thank you for sharing the kind words. Little R12. Now the only thing you can hear are the squeaks. Yeah, that's funny how when somebody points something out, then that's the only thing you can focus on. So now a little B14 here for the blue parts of his costume. Little B12 now. Pull a little bit more of this red down to match up with the blue. Line up with the blue. Little R24 now to kind of blend some of these reds and oranges together. All right, do some of that RV95 here for the exposed shoulder meat. Here's some of the, start to work this into some of the more open wound areas. Little RV32. I'm going to start to work in, let's see, he has brown eyes, so we see a little bit of his brown eye right up here that's rolling up into the back of his head there. While we're here, let's make this a bloodshot eye, so a little R24. You start to add a little blood here around his mouth. Now it's time for some grays. We're really going to drop in some grays here. Really want this to look dark and gritty. So some warm gray 5, W5. Start to drop in some really heavy shadows throughout here into his flesh tones as well. So as you can see, once I start to put in the gray there, it really starts to make it look a bit more gritty. Not so bright and happy colored. This is not a bright and happy, this isn't your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man anymore. In the Marvel zombie universe, the neighborhood's not so friendly. So we don't want those bright, happy colors. But we needed to lay those down first as a base. Or at least that's my approach. And then you really start to grit it out with the different shades of gray. Here on his hand, on the undersides of the fingers there, so the upper digits pop out more. Power that down to a warm gray 3. Going to use more of this lighter shade of warm gray in the flesh tones a bit more. And over the teeth as well. And let's see, let's bring in some neutral, no, some cool gray 5. Thanks for the kind words, gang. Bring this over the blue here. Some of this cool gray into the over these warm colors, especially around the eye. Really want that eye to be sunken in. So you see, just start add some gray around that, and then boom, creepy quotient's just gone up. Right there inside the where the nose was. How do I know which gray tones to use? Basic rule of thumb, if it's a warm color, I use warm gray. So colors like red, orange, yellow, pink, certain shades of purple, brown, you know, all the different kind of flesh tones from light brown to dark brown. I'm going to use warm grays. If it's blue, green, blue-based purples, I'll use cool grays. But I don't mind moving my cool grays into my warm colors and my warm grays into my cool colors, just depending on the effect I want to create. Little cool gray, or warm gray 2. The more warm gray I put over the flesh tone here, the more corpsey he's going to look. like the life. I really want that bone finger to look more bone-like. We're not quite done yet, gang. We still have to, gotta make him a bit more of a bloody mess. I'm gonna put some of this gray over that blue there to create more of a lens effect. All right, so see there, before, when we started, he was a very bright, fleshy toned skin. Now, gruesome corpse-colored skin. In fact, I'm going to put a little neutral gray in here, a little neutral too, to really help pull out some of that life from his face. This is such a drab gray that it will make him look even more corpsey. All right. So now I'm going to take a very dark red, the RV, or the R59, and we're going to start to put some blood on his face, around his mouth here, over the teeth, across his tongue. And this is a brush pen as well, so as I can make, the more I push down, and I get bigger shapes. The less I push down, the smaller shapes. So let's see, there's a lot of blood here from where he got chomped, right? So we're going to drop in the blood. And see, that's not fun thing about putting the blood on here, is that it can just go everywhere. Oh, there's going to be blood spatter into his goggles, around his eye, around his head wound here. Of course, into the mask. You just kind of let it spider web all around to give it as chaotic an effect as possible. And little droplets that kind of fly off everywhere, into his hair, into his eyebrow. Of course, dripping down the front of his costume because, you know, he's a zombie. He doesn't have the best table manners. So, you know, he's not going to take the time to wipe his face with a napkin. He didn't have like a lobster bib on. And as you put the blood over like colors like the blue, you can really see the contrast. Of course, it'll be on his fingers because he was grabbing something that he was eating. So let's bring in some warm gray here. Some warm gray 7. Add some darker shadows and kind of dry the blood out a little bit. You know how blood kind of turns brown when it dries? Want some of that in here. It gives all this a little more depth and texture. And also there's probably dirt all schmoozed around in here. You know, as a zombie, they don't really pay attention to where they're at. So, you know, they go through mud, they don't care. Marvel Zombie Spidey, he don't care. A little more under the eyes there. Can I make a Batman zombie? Maybe someday. Not today, unfortunately. I only have time for the one broadcast right now that I can foresee. Unless for some reason I'm able to broadcast tonight, but I'm not sure if I'd do another zombie superhero. But maybe someday. Okay. Now let's just add a quick little background here. Actually, I don't want to make it a nice clean shape because this is a zombie. Zombies aren't clean about anything. So let's go with a warm gray 9. I'm just going to kind of cut in different angles here. A background here. Do I always draw the background last? For a piece like this, yes. But if I'm drawing comics in my comic book work, it all just depends on what's called for in the shot. Sometimes I draw the background first, or I figure out the background first, then put the characters inside that background, or I draw the characters in and then fit the background in around them. It all just depends on what the panel calls for and what the focus of the shot is. So it's never one hard, fast rule. Come in with some warm gray 10 here. Let's power this down to a warm gray 7. All right, now let's see. Let's get a little warm gray 4 with the brush tip. Just kind of close the gap here between the background and Spidey, just so he doesn't have too wide of a halo around him. So just blending that dark color towards the character. Now taking my trusty Uniball Signo white gel pen, let's put in a spider web. Now this isn't a symmetrical spider web. This is one of those chaotic spider webs where the web's cut at all sorts of different angles. It's not like his costume. It's not like his costume webs, which are symmetrical. These webs are going to cut in. You vary the placement of the lines. Some are close together, some are further apart. And then when you do the cross webs, it's the same idea. Stagger them. You want to stagger. All right, now here on because not all the blood has dried, on certain little bloops and blops of the blood, I want to put little highlights. Just a few, not too many. Don't want it to look like a star pattern. But some parts where the blood is fresh. Maybe some saliva mixing with it. Just a little dot on certain places to give it a wet look. So wherever there is red, not the gray. So it'd probably be freshest around his hands and his mouth. Okay. Put an autograph on here. And the date. And there's Marvel Zombies Spider-Man. So what I'll do is flip around here. We'll answer a few questions because I know I missed a lot of those questions, and we'll call it a show. All right. Hey, how's it going? Oh, hi, Damon. I remember you from Washington. Good to see you. Do I ever mess up? Sure, yeah. Sometimes I make mistakes. Sometimes I can correct those mistakes. Sometimes I have to start over. It just all depends on how bad the mistake is. But yeah, definitely mistakes happen. That's going to happen. Can I come to San Jose Comic-Con? Maybe. I have not been to that convention yet, so maybe one day I'll get to be a guest there. Be sure to let your promoter know, and maybe they'll extend me an invite. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that. How long did this piece take? You know what? I don't know. When I sign off here, it'll say how long the broadcast went, and that'll give me an idea. So, I don't know. We were probably pushing an hour there. Let's see. Am I putting this piece up for sale? Yeah, first email into me gets first shot at buying, so mail@wildguard.com. I wouldn't be surprised if I already have a handful of emails in already. But do go ahead and shoot me an email, because if the previous buyers are not able to complete the sale, next person in line gets a shot at it. Where do I get my Copic refills? I get mine at an art supply store here in Southern California, or I buy them off of Amazon. Yes, I do work on comic books. I've been working on comic books for a long time, from Young Justice, Teen Titans, Spider-Man, Nightcrawler, and I'm currently doing Deadpool. I'm doing a Deadpool miniseries called Deadpool Too Soon, and I'm drawing Spider-Man Deadpool number 12. That will be out in December, and then I got a new project for 2017. Marvel will be announcing that hopefully come early next year. What was my favorite costume as a kid? Wow, as a kid. As a kid, I'd probably say the Walter Simonson X Factor costumes. Cyclops, Jean Grey, Iceman, Angel, or Archangel, Beast. Those are my favorites, yeah. How many glasses do I have? Just the one pair, and then a pair of prescription shades. So 2 pairs total, but just one of regular viewing spectacles. Gang, thanks so much for tuning in. Hope y'all had fun. Thanks for joining me. And let's see. Hopefully I'll do a broadcast for tomorrow here on the Periscope Monsters, Inc. Periscope channel for actual Halloween. I don't know what I'll draw yet, so that'll be a surprise for us all. But thanks so much for hanging out. Thanks for all the questions. Thanks for all the support, the hearts and bats. Y'all are awesome. Do follow me on all my other social networks. You can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook. Pretty much you just search Todd Nauck, you'll find me there. Facebook, I'm Art of Todd Nauck. You'll want to follow that page. And that's about it. I hope y'all had fun, and I'll see y'all again soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.